ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति शुभनामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So dear devotees, thank you so much for your kind association. Let's get started with the first canto of Granthara Srimad-Bhagavatam, the first chapter. Today we will cover the first chapter in the next 45 minutes or so. So I hope all of you have a notebook and pen and your Srimad-Bhagavatam with you. So as you know, Srimad-Bhagavatam is the Amal Puran. Srimad-Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam. And it is very dear to the devotees. Shri Vyasadeva, after compiling all the Vedic literatures in his full maturity, he attained complete satisfaction only after writing Srimad-Bhagavatam and giving Srimad-Bhagavatam to the world. So with this understanding, let us dive into Srimad-Bhagavatam. Let's go to the first verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam. I'm going to share my screen. I hope all of you are able to see my screen. So this is the first verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam. So let us chant it, all of us together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadasya yatonvayaditaratascha swara tene brahmharidaya adikavaye muhyanti yatsurayah tejo vari mrudam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha Dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam satyam param dhimahi. So this is the first verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam. This is also considered to be the Mangala Charan of Srimad-Bhagavatam, the invocation verse. Let us read Srila Prabhupada's translation. Om Vishnupad Paramhams Parivrajakaacharya Ashtottara Shata Shri Śrīmad Abhay Charana Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. O my Lord Shri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even great sages and demigods are placed into illusion. As one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Hare Krishna. So dear devotees, please do not feel overwhelmed by this big verse. We will try to simplify it. We'll try to break it down. It's actually very sweet, this first verse. So as I have shared on the WhatsApp group of the first chapter of Srimad-Bhagavatam, there are 3 verses that we have to memorize. And these are verses 1, 2, and 3. The first 3 verses of the first chapter we have to memorize. They are very important. This first verse is the Mangala Charan verse. It's the invocation verse. The second verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam, Dharma Projita Kaitava, it is the glorification of Srimad-Bhagavatam itself. So in this first verse, Janma Dasyato, Srila Vyasadeva has described Bhagavan. Srila Vyasadeva has described Shri Krishna. In the second verse, Srila Vyasadeva has glorified Srimad-Bhagavatam. So it is the glorification. You can say the pranam mantra for Srimad-Bhagavatam. And the third verse of the first chapter is the invitation to all of us to come and study Srimad-Bhagavatam. Hari Bol. Srila Vyasadeva is inviting all of us in the third verse, Nigama Kalpataror Phalitam. He's inviting all of us to come and relish Srimad-Bhagavatam. So again, first verse is description and glorification of Bhagavan Krishna. Second verse is description and glorification of Srimad-Bhagavatam. And the third verse is an invitation to the readers to come and relish Grantharaj Śrīmad-Bhagavatam. So what are the three principles that we learn from these three verses. We understand from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita that our spiritual philosophy, our Bhakti Siddhanta, is divided into three parts: Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. Sambandha means the relationship between Jiva, Jagat, and Jagadish. We have to understand who are we, Jiva, who is God, Jagadish, what is this world, Prakriti, Jagat, and what is the interrelationship between these three. That is Sambandha Jnana. I hope all of you are able to understand. If anything is not clear, please raise your hand. Okay. So what is Sambandha Jnana? Sambandha Jnana means understanding what is Jiva, who is Jagadish, what is this Jagat, and what is their interrelationship. That is Sambandha Jnana. That is described in the first verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam. So first verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam talks about Sambandha Tattva. The second verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam, which we are about to read, which is a glorification of Srimad-Bhagavatam, is the Abhideya. Because Abhideya means the process by which we can attain perfection. The process of Bhakti is called Abhideya. And that is described in Srimad-Bhagavatam. That we have to study Srimad-Bhagavatam because it is teaching us pure devotional service. And practice of pure devotional service, practice of Uttama Bhakti is the process called Abhideya. So second verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam talks about Abhideya Tattva. And the third verse, which is an invitation for us to come and just drink Srimad-Bhagavatam and relish Srimad-Bhagavatam. What is that? Prayojan. So the first three verses of Srimad-Bhagavatam talk about Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. And our acharyas explain that any scripture, any literature, not scripture, any literature that does not talk about these three principles, Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan, is not a perfect literature. For any bhakti literature to be considered perfect and worth reading, it should have all these three aspects: Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. And this is accomplished in the first three verses of Srimad-Bhagavatam itself. So, okay, very good. So if you have any doubt or any question or you need any clarification, please type how Amrit Gaurang Mataji just did. So can you elaborate on Prayojan in the context of Srimad-Bhagavatam? So Prayojan means the perfection of our bhakti. And our Prayojan Acharya is Sri Raghunath Das Goswami. He lives at the highest abode of all spiritual abodes, Sri Radha Kund. And he is always chanting Radha Nam. Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj has written a bhajan. You can look it up. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj has written a bhajan where he shows, let me share my screen actually. I may be able to pull it up right now also. So one second. So Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he writes a bhajan, and in that bhajan it is a description of how Srila Raghunath Das Goswami is always chanting Radhanam. I'll show you that verse, that song. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. You see this? Kothaya go premamai radhe radhe. Look at this bhajan. This is by Srila Gaur Kishore Babaji Maharaj. Kothaya go premamai radhe radhe, radhe radhe go jay radhe radhe. Dekha diye pran rakh radhe radhe, tomara kangala tomai dake radhe radhe. So he's calling out to Radharani. Radhe Vrindavana Vilasini, Radhe Radhe. Radhe Kanu Mana Mohini. Kanu means Krishna. Krishna Mana Mohini, Radhe Radhe. So Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj is writing all this, saying that Das Goswami, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami is speaking all this. Where is she who is full of prem? All glories to Sri Radha. He's calling out Radha Radha. And then see, he will O Radhe, you are the crest jewel among your 8 principal Sakhis. Ashta Sakhi Shiromani Radhe Radhe. O Radha, daughter of Rishabhanu Baba, Raghunath Das Goswami was always calling out Radhe Radhe. See, Srila Gaur Kishore Awaj Maharaj is saying that our Prayojan Acharya, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, was always calling out Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe. So this is Prayojan Tattva. To understand that we are Radha Kinkari. To understand that we are simply maid servants of Srimati Radharani. This is Prayojan Tattva. And Srimad-Bhagavatam, without directly mentioning the name of Shri Radha, teaches us this. Because in Srimad-Bhagavatam, relishing Srimad-Bhagavatam in the association of devotees means to understand the Brahmar Geet, to understand the Gopi Geet. And these are the moods in the heart of Srimati Radharani. And to properly understand them, we have to study Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Charitamrita is an explanation of the deeper meaning of Srimad-Bhagavatam. So the third verse, Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam, it refers to Prayojan because it teaches us that the Prayojan, the perfection of our life, Prayojan means the perfection of our life, is Prem. And only Premi Bhaktas, only loving devotees can come together and they can relish Srimad-Bhagavatam. Mat chitta mad gata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tuschanticha ramanticha. Ramanticha. They can take so much, derive so much pleasure by simply talking about me, as described in Srimad-Bhagavatam. So therefore the third verse is called Prayojan Tattva, because it talks about the state of love. How in a state of love devotees come together and they simply relish without any arguments, without any questions, without any tarka, vitarka. They simply drink this juice of Srimad-Bhagavatam. If there is a fruit, we have to remove the peel, we have to remove the seed inside. But if you are given mango juice, you simply drink. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamayam. Just drink amras. Just drink mango juice. That is Srimad-Bhagavatam. Nothing else. Just pure. Everything else is removed. The seed is removed, skin is removed. Like Mahaprabhu taught us in Srivasangan. When the devotees of Mahaprabhu they were hungry during the dancing at night in Srivasangan. What did Mahaprabhu do? Anyone knows? Let me give all of you the ability to unmute. So, if you want, you can unmute. 1 second. What did Mahaprabhu do? Would anyone like to unmute?
Planted the mango seed and the mango trees just fructified immediately and everybody ate mangoes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Kasturi Manjari Mataji. So he gave a tree where there were mangoes without skins and without seeds. And devotees were doing Nam Sankirtan. Whenever they would get tired, they would just take a mango and Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamayam. Just drink. No skin, no seeds. So that is Prayojan, where all the doubts are destroyed, all the questions are gone, and we are simply relishing Krishna Katha. Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhiriditam Kalamanashaham. So just drinking the nectar of Tava Kathamritam, Krishna Katha. That is Prayojan. That is a state of prem. That is the highest. Is that okay? Amrit Gaurangi Mataji? That highest state of relishing Srimad-Bhagavatam without any doubts, without any questions, without any arguments is there in the third verse. So it talks about Prayojan Tattva. And we'll read that verse. So if that's okay, let's go back to Srimad-Bhagavatam. So let us analyze the, the first verse. What is being taught? What is being spoken of in the first verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam? There is a description of the absolute truth. So let's look at the keywords in the first verse. So we read the translation. Now let us look at the verse. So keep paying attention to the keywords. So first, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This clearly indicates that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to whom we are doing Namaskar, we are offering our obeisances, is Bhagwan, Supreme Personality of Godhead, which means that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one may say, okay, Krishna may refer to Lord Vishnu, or Krishna may refer to some other incarnation, but it is specifically said Vasudevaya, means the son of Vasudev Maharaj. and Devaki Rani, their son. Vasudev Maharaj's son, Vasudev. He is Supreme Personality of God. He is Bhagwan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. After this pranam, it is described Janma Adi Asya Yato. So let me go down so we can see. Srila Prabhupada has so mercifully given us synonyms. So Janmadasya Yato means Janma Adi means all three. Shrishti, Sthiti, Pralaya. Creation, maintenance, and destruction. Creation, sustenance, and destruction. All three. Janma Adi means in that one word, when you put Adi, it refers to etc. So Janma, creation, Shrishti, Sthiti, Pralaya. Creation, maintenance, and destruction. Of what? Asya. Asya. Of these manifested universes. Anvayad itaratas charthesh abhidnya. Which means that Krishna, Vasudev, is directly and indirectly. He is Anvayat means directly, and Itara means opposite of Anvayat. Itara means opposite. So he is directly and indirectly conscious of all the manifestations in the material universes. We should not think, oh, what does Krishna know? What I am going through? What does Krishna know what I need? No, Krishna knows everything. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all the manifestations. And he is, so therefore he is Abhidnya. He is all-knowing. He is omniscient, fully cognizant, Srila Prabhupada writes. And no one else can claim to be all cognizant. We are cognizant of what is happening in our body. If I'm sitting cross-legged and my legs are going numb, I'm getting pins and needles, I will immediately adjust my position because I'm conscious about my body. But I'm not conscious about your bodies, what is happening in your bodies, isn't it? So therefore, we are not all cognizant. We are to some extent self-cognizant, but we are not even completely cognizant about our own body. Think about it. If we were cognizant about our body, we knew everything about our body, then why would we need screening mammogram? Why would we need screening colonoscopy? We are doing all these screening tests. We are testing PSA to look for prostate cancer, mammogram for breast cancer, colonoscopy, we are searching for early colon cancer, because we don't know what is cooking inside our body, isn't it? We don't know. So we are not in full knowledge. So that is, only Krishna can claim to be Abhidnya. And then the next word is Swarat. Swarat. Krishna is fully independent. We are not independent. We are dependent on so many things. If the weather is cold, we have to wear a jacket. If it is raining, we have to take an umbrella with us. If it is hot, we have to wear light cotton clothes, loose cotton clothes, because it's very hot. So we are dependent on the weather. We are not independent. But Krishna is fully independent. Krishna has got 12 forests in Goloka Vrindavan, Dwadasha Kanana. And there are Upavan. There are 12 Vana and there are Upavan. There are sub-forests also, and there are sub-forests also. And in Vrindavan, there are 6 seasons. We have only 3 seasons in India. We have 4 seasons in America. Spring, summer, fall, and winter. In India, we have summer, winter, and monsoon seasons. So, but in Golok Vrindavan, there are 6 seasons. And in the different forests of Vrindavan, all the 6 seasons are always manifest. So whichever season Krishna wants to enjoy, Krishna can just go and enjoy. They're all there. Every day Krishna can enjoy all 6 seasons. Fully independent. He is not dependent on Prakriti. Prakriti is dependent on Krishna. Maya adhyakshena Prakriti, Maya adhyakshena Prakriti suyate sa characharam. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says. What to speak of Prakriti? Even Brahmajyoti is dependent on Krishna. Brahmano pratishtha aham, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is fully independent. That is the meaning of Swarat. Then in this verse it is said, Tene Brahma Hridaya Ādi Kavaye. So Brahma Jnana means transcendental knowledge or Divya Jnana. There are 2 types of knowledge. There is Jada Jnana, knowledge of this material world, and there is Brahma Jnana or Divya Jnana, knowledge of spiritual topics. So Krishna is saying that Tene Brahma Hridaya Ādi Kavaye. And Ādi Kavi refers to Lord Brahmaji, or it may also refer to Srila Vyasadeva. But who imparted them knowledge? It is Krishna. Specifically to Lord Brahma, Krishna imparted the knowledge through the sound of his flute. Just think about that. Such amazing knowledge transmission. So Krishna gave knowledge, Tene Brahma Hridaya Ādi Kavaye, directly in the heart of Brahma, who is the Adi Kavi. So Krishna is the source of all knowledge. All the four Vaishnava Sampradayas, they come from, ultimately from Krishna. The Shri Sampradaya, Kumar Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, and Brahma Sampradaya. They are, because all the Sampradaya Acharyas are ultimately getting knowledge from Krishna. So he's the source of all knowledge. And because he is source of all knowledge and understanding, what happens? Muhyanti yat suraya. Even great sages and demigods are placed into illusion by Krishna. Muhyanti yat suraya. So quickly, one of you raise your hand, don't unmute, raise your hand and tell me, can you tell some example where Muhyanti yat suraya, some great demigod got bewildered by Krishna's illusory potency? Raise your hand. Okay. So Mukta Sangha Prabhu, please unmute and tell some example.
Brahma Vimohan Leela.
Classic example. Brahma Vimohan Leela. Brahmaji was bewildered. And Sandeep Prabhu, you want to share something?
Indra was bewildered through the Govardhan.
Yes. Indra is Surendra. He's the king of all the Suras. He got bewildered. And Kamal Gopika Mataji? Kamal
Both Indra and Brahma, I was about to tell. So that one.
Yes. Muhyanti yat suraya. He can bewilder them. So, okay. So everyone, the point is that even great sages and demigods are bewildered by Krishna's illusory potency. Muhyanti yat suraya. Now, example is given how he bewilders and how we are also bewildered. Tejo vari mridam yatha. Let's go back to the screen. So Teja means fire, Vari means water, and Mridam means earth. Krishna did the Mrid Bhakshan Leela, where he ate mud. So Mridam means earth. So here it is said that just like one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire, if you look at fire, it appears that there are some water vapors coming from the fire, but that's an illusion. And land seen on water. Some seamen, some sailors who are lost at sea, sometimes when they look at the horizon and they are really looking for land, they may feel an illusion that, oh, there is land, there is land, there is land. And they take their ship towards the horizon and nothing, it's only sea. Sometimes there can be illusion. And similarly, one may see water on land. Example is mirage. So these are all illusions. And just like we are illusioned by all these mirages, etc., even great demigods and sages, they can also become bewildered by Krishna's illusory potency. Examples are Brahmaji, King Indra. What to speak of us? Vinimayo yatra trisarga. Vinimaya means action and reaction. So what happens? Only because of trisargo mrisha. Trisarga means the three modes of sattvagun, rajogun, tamogun, which cause creation, maintenance, and destruction. What happens? Everything appears factual, that all this creation, maintenance, and destruction is actually factual because of his illusory potency. Although these are all temporary and we are permanent, we are spirit and this material world, but because of Krishna's illusory potency, Maya Shakti, we identify with the material world. Oh, I am dying. My birthday, I was born. We start identifying with this body. We start identifying with this world. Oh, this world is coming to an end. I am self-made man. I have created this empire. I created this company. All this is all ego, false ego, illusion. It is coming because of Krishna's illusory potency. So it appears all factual because of Krishna's Maya Shakti. But is Krishna under Maya? No. Immediately in the next line it is said, Dhamna swena sada nirasta kuhakam. But Krishna, his own dham, his transcendental abode, Mam upetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gatam. Tad dhama paramam mama, na tad bhasyate suryo, na shashanko na pavaka, yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. Krishna is saying, Srila Vyasdeva is saying that Krishna's dham, his own dham, swena dhamna, his own dham is, how is it? It is completely self-sufficient, doesn't need sun, doesn't need moon, doesn't need fire. It is made of Vishuddha Sattva. It is spiritual abode, and it is beyond all illusions. It is Nirasta Kuhakam. There is no illusion there in Krishna's abode. It is spiritual abode, Goloka Vrindavan. There is no illusion there. There is illusion in this material world. Like we saw, we are all bewildered. Even Brahmaji is bewildered. Even Indra is bewildered. We are all bewildered. Durvas Muni gets bewildered. Bhrigu Muni gets bewildered. So all these great sages, they get bewildered. But in Krishna's abode, there is no illusion. It is free of all illusion. Nirasta Kuhakam. And therefore, what should we do? Should we meditate on this world, or should we meditate on Krishna in the spiritual world? Satyam Param Dhimai. We should meditate on Krishna. Satyam Param Dhimai. I meditate on the absolute truth, Krishna. So this is Sambandha Jnana. That I am under illusion, I am in this material world, and I am taking this material world, which is temporary, to be all in all. But Krishna is the source of this world. So that is Sambandha. See, the Sambandha between the material world and Krishna. So Krishna is the creator, maintainer, and the destroyer of this material world. The material world depends on Krishna. I belong to Krishna. Krishna is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. He is the Supreme Personality of God. He is Abhidnya. He is Swarat. This knowledge is called Sambandha Jnana. And I belong to him. Therefore, let me meditate on Krishna. Satyam Param Dhimahi. Now listen very carefully, my dear friends, what I'm about to say. This is very important. Sometimes people, they have an allegation that Srimad-Bhagavatam or the Bhakti Shastras are for beginners. All these stories, it's all time pass, it's all spiritual entertainment. Now, when you really become a serious spiritualist, then you come and study the Upanishads. Yes, that is the greatest praman. The Shruti Shastra, they are the greatest pramana. This Puranas and all, it's for less intelligent people who want entertainment. They need stories. You learn your stories, and then when you elevate, then you come and we'll talk about the Upanishads. We'll talk about Vedanta Sutra. Hare Krishna. So, to answer them, our commentators on Srimad-Bhagavatam, specifically Srila Jiva Goswami in the Krama Sandarbha, and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his Tika, Saratha Darshini Tika, they have written pages after pages after pages explaining how this first verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam is an explanation of the Gayatri Mantra, the Brahma Gayatri. And if anyone is interested, I can share a screenshot of that. You can just read it for yourself. But I don't want to speak the Gayatri Mantra in public like this or loudly. So if anybody is interested in understanding how the Brahma Gayatri Mantra is explained in the first verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam, you just let me know. In fact, what I will do is I will just put it in the group so all of you can see for yourself. Beautiful. Jiva Goswami analyzes it so expertly in Krama Sandarbha. I'll share it with all of you. But let's focus on Satyam Param Dhimahi. Satyam Param is Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. And Dhimahi means let us all meditate on him. So our acharyas explain that this is very important. Because in the Gayatri Mantra, those of you who have received second initiation, you know that in the Gayatri Mantra, specifically in the Guru Gayatri, in the Gaur Gayatri Mantra, and in the Kam Gayatri Mantra, there are three words. There is Vidmahe, there is Dhimahi, and there is Prachodayat. And these three words, they have very important meaning. So Vidmahe means it is Sambandha. Dhimahi is Abhideya. And Prachodayat means Prayojan. How that is? So Vidmahe means let me try to understand. Understanding Guru, understanding Gaura, and understanding Radha Krishna. This is Sambandha. To understand. Vidmahi, let me understand. Then Dhimahi means to concentrate on them, focus on them, meditate on them. That is Abhideya, the process where we do man mana bhava mad bhakto. That is abhidya, to focus on Krishna. Focus on Guru Gauranga Gopinath. That is dhimahi. But before we can fix our mind, we have to understand who they are. So vidmahi comes first. Then dhimahi. We focus our attention. And finally there is prachodayat. Prachodayat is prayojan, where we are praying that please inspire us from within. All our activities, all our actions, may they be enthused and inspired by you. Basically, in short, means Nachao, nachao, Prabhu, nachao, sema. As Srila Prabhupada wrote on Jaladuta. That make me your puppet, make me dance the way you want me to dance. That is prachodayat. Inspire all my activities, my dear Lord. So we see how the first verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam is an explanation of the Gayatri Mantra. Now let's go to the second verse. So don't worry, it took us some time to discuss the first verse because the first verse is very important. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur spoke on the first verse, 3 classes every day of 2-hour duration for 1 month during his Vrajmandal Parikrama. For entire 1 month Parikrama, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada spoke on the first verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam. He gave 90 classes on Srimad-Bhagavatam, first verse. So don't worry. There are some questions, so let me look at the chat box. So Nikunja Leela Mataji is saying there are 10 types of prayers. So first verse is which type of prayer? So according to Shri Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu of Srila Rupa Goswami, there are 10 types of prayers. And I'll have to see, Mataji, exactly what. I cannot think of it directly right now. What type of the 10 types of prayer the first verse is. But first verse is the invocation verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam. It's the invocation verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam. Second point is, Amrit Gauranga Mataji, for happiness too, we are dependent on others' approval and acceptance of us. Does this apply to in this context of dependence and independence? Yes, absolutely, it does. Because we are dependent on others, we are dependent on so many factors. And yes, this is exactly what it means. But Krishna is fully independent. And Sugandha Mataji is saying that Mohini Murti is another example of Muhyanti Atsura. Yes, in the form of Mohini Murti, Lord Shiva was bewildered. Sharanagat Devidasi is saying Nirasta. What is negation by absence? There is absence of illusion in the spiritual world. In this material world, there is illusion. But Srila Vyasadeva is saying in the first verse that there is absence of illusion in the spiritual world. I hope this is okay, Sharanagat Mataji. Vinit Prabhu is saying, what about the question of Srimad-Bhagavatam versus Upanishads? Yes. So, Srimad-Bhagavatam is the elaborate explanation of all the Vedanta Sutra. The Vedanta Sutras are summary of all the Upanishads. All the Upanishadic knowledge, all the Shruti knowledge is summarized in keys, in sutras, in the form of the Brahma Sutras or Vedanta Sutra. And Srimad Bhagavatam, according to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he tells Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya that Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural explanation of the Vedanta Sutra. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the elaborate explanation of Srimad Bhagavatam. So yes, Nikunja Leela Mataji, I will think about your question about the first verse, what type of prayer it is, out of 10 types of prayers, and I will put it on the group in some time. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So let's go to second verse. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmat saranam satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam Śrīmad-Bhagavate Mahamuni krite kim va parairishvara sadyorid avarudhyate trakritibi shushrusubhistat kshanat. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Srimad-Bhagavatam, this Bhagavad Puran propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by Nirmat Saranam Satam, by those devotees who are fully pure in the heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. So, sometimes we may be asked, what is Satyam Param? What is the highest truth? This is the definition of highest truth. It is reality distinguished from illusion, which means we should understand what is real and we should also understand what is not real. What is Shreya, what is beneficial, and what is harmful. Knowledge of both should be there. In Ishopanishad, we have read that we need both Vidya and Avidya. We need knowledge of what is good and we need knowledge of what is bad. Both are required, positive and negative. What we should do, what we should not do. We should chant at least 16 rounds every day. We should not break the 4 regulative principles. You see? So both are required. So highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion. Knowledge of reality and knowledge of illusion both is required. But for what? What purpose? For bombing Ukraine? No. For the welfare of all. For the welfare of all. Not for destruction, but for the benefit, for the welfare of others. That is highest truth. So there are many relative truths in this world, but Srimad-Bhagavatam is talking about the highest truth. Such truth, what does it do? It uproots tapatraya unmoolanam. Moola means root. Unmool means to uproot it. Srimad-Bhagavatam uproots the threefold miseries. What are the threefold miseries? Miseries caused by our own body, by other living entities, and by higher forces. Adhyatmic, Ādi Bhautik, and Ādi Daivik. All these threefolds of miseries are completely uprooted by Srimad-Bhagavatam. So there is a difference between unmoolanam and to cut. What is the difference? When there are weeds in the garden and we simply cut them, cut. What happens after some time? They again grow. What is the treatment? To uproot the weeds. And what does Srimad-Bhagavatam do? Does it cut the weeds? No. It uproots. Unmoolanam. So that unmoolanam word is very important there. Srimad-Bhagavatam completely uproots all that is undesirable. All the threefold miseries are uprooted. This beautiful Srimad-Bhagavatam compiled by the great sage Srila Vedavyas in his maturity. You see, we may write so many things, but what we write when we have completely understood, that is the highest. So Srila Vyasadeva wrote everything, but then after being dissatisfied and hearing the solution from his Gurudev, Shripad Narad Muni, then in his full maturity, his final offering to the world is Srimad-Bhagavatam. So therefore, this beautiful Bhagavatam is the final offering of Srila Vyasadeva after compiling Upanishads. Hare Krishna. After compiling everything, he gave Srimad-Bhagavatam. And it is therefore sufficient in itself for God realization. Srimad-Bhagavatam is self-sufficient in giving us complete God realization. What is the need, therefore, for any other scripture besides Srimad-Bhagavatam? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Srimad-Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within the heart. Hare Krishna. Such beautiful glorification of Srimad-Bhagavatam. Sadyorid avarudhate trakritibi shushrushu kshanat. Tat kshanat. Immediately, very quickly, without delay. What happens? Ishvara sadya ridi avarudhyate. Krishna becomes established in our heart. So now let us look at the key phrases in the second verse. The second verse is dealing with Abhidaya Tattva. So there is glorification of Srimad-Bhagavatam. Srimad-Bhagavate. Atra means in this Srimad-Bhagavatam. Now the word Atra is repeated 3 times for emphasis. Like we say that Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam eva kevalam, Kalau Nasti eva, Nasti eva, Nasti eva gatir. 3 times it is repeated for emphasis. So similarly here, Atra, this Srimad-Bhagavatam, this Srimad-Bhagavatam, this Srimad-Bhagavatam. It is repeated 3 times in this verse. Dharma projitaka etavo atra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayon moolanam Śrīmad-Bhagavate Mahamuni krite kim va parayishvara sadyorid avarudhyatetra kritibhi. Sushrushuਭistat kshanat. You see how Srimad-Bhagavatam, this Srimad-Bhagavatam, this, don't get confused. It's not some other literature we are referring. This. 3 times it is repeated for emphasis. This Srimad-Bhagavatam is what? Dharma projita kayatam. Completely rejects. Projhita means completely rejects. What? Kayatav dharma. Kayatav dharma means anything that is besides the Vaishnava dharma, besides Nitya dharma, besides Bhagavad dharma. Everything else is rejected in Srimad Bhagavatam. Because other religions that are not dealing with the Nitya dharma of the Jiva, that are not dealing with the Jaiva dharma, they are simply cheating religions. So they are rejected in Srimad Bhagavatam. Paramo. Okay, so you are rejecting the lesser dharma. So what are you giving us? We are giving, Srimad Bhagavatam is giving us Param Dharma. Savai Pumsa Paro Dharmo Yatho Bhakti Radhoksha. It is giving us Krishna Bhakti, which is the Param Dharma. So Paramo word is used. So look at this. Parama. The highest it is giving us. Highest knowledge. And who is it for? Because there are different scriptures for different levels of spiritualists, isn't it? There are 6 Puranas to uplift those in the mode of ignorance, 6 Puranas to uplift those in the mode of passion, 6 Puranas to uplift those in the mode of goodness. So who is Srimad-Bhagavatam meant for? That's a natural question. Who is the intended audience? Srimad-Bhagavatam itself says, Nirmatsaranam satam Vedyam. Vedyam means who can understand. Who can understand? Only Nirmatsaranam satam. Only one is 100% pure at heart. So this is a very important concept, my dear friends. For example, in the Holy Bible, Jesus Christ says that there is much I want to give you, but you are not ready yet. So Jesus Christ spoke based on Kala Desha Patra, based on time, place, and circumstances. How much ever the audience could understand. But what does Lord Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita to Arjun? Yad jnatva neha bhuya anyad natevam avashishyate. After knowing this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, after knowing the Rajavidya Rajaguhyam, Pavitram idam uttamam, nothing more shall remain for you to know. Because Arjun was a very high class audience, isn't it? Whereas other spiritual masters, other acharyas, other gurus, who are they speaking to? Some are speaking to some very low class meat eaters, tribals. So they have to be given basic knowledge. It is the truth. It is spiritual knowledge. It is for them on whatever level they are. Some are murderers, envious people. They are listening. So when they are given a discourse by an acharya based on time, place, and circumstances, the truth is spoken, but based on their level of spiritual understanding and realization. But when Lord Krishna is speaking to Arjun, Arjun is a Mahabhagavat Nitya Siddha Bhakta. Krishna can speak everything. Similarly, in his full maturity, when Shripad Narad Muni ordered him, Srila Vyasdev, now write the highest truth. Don't compromise now. Enough you have spoken about Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Now speak about the Pancham Purushartha. Speak about the Purushartha Shiromani. Don't speak about these 4 types of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Yes, they are Purushartha, but they are not the supreme Purushartha. Talk about the Pancham Purushartha, Purushartha Shiromani. Talk about Bhagavad Dharma. Then Srila Vyasdev went all out. He gave the highest. So therefore, this can be understood not by just anyone. Srimad-Bhagavatam can be understood by those who are pure at heart. But don't be discouraged. It can be understood by those who are pure at heart, but Srimad-Bhagavatam itself purifies also. It itself purifies. Shrunvatam Swakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Ridantasto Hyabhadrani Vidhunoti Suhrit Satam. Just by reading Srimad-Bhagavatam slowly, we'll get purified, and then we'll get deeper and deeper understandings, and we will want to relish it more and more. Swadu Swadu Pade Pade. So 1 second. There are Archana Mataji is saying, why Sadhya and Tat Kshanat is said? Is it redundant? Let me go. It is not redundant, it is emphasizing. 1 second. I'm getting this. It is emphasizing. So I wouldn't call it redundant, but it is emphasizing the fact that very quickly it will purify us. That is my understanding. And also the first word that you're saying, Sadhya, it goes with Ishvara Sadhya Ridhi Avarudhyate. So both of them are referring to two different things, Archana Mataji. The Sadhya is referring to Ishvara Rid Avarudhyate, that the Supreme Lord Krishna is established within one's heart at once. That is a Sadhya. And then Tat Kshana is Kritibhi Shushrushuphis. As soon as one attentively hears Srimad-Bhagavatam, that happens. So it is going with two different things, but emphasizing the same point, that very quickly you will get Krishna Prem. Tomara Hridaya Sada Govinda Vishrama, Govinda Kahena Mora Vaishnava Parana. That will happen very quickly, that Krishna will manifest in the heart. Sadayam, Sadavo Hridayam Mahyam. Very quickly that will happen, that Krishna will get established in the heart. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Then Ajay Govind Prabhu has said, whenever possible, can you share the reference of verse you quote so that we can later see those in detail for self-study? Yes, Prabhuji. Did I quote any verse just now? If I quoted anything, just remind me. I will give the reference. So
you are quoting many verses. So.
Hare Krishna. I will be careful to quote the reference. Yeah. So Paramo, highest truth, and Nirmat Saranam Satam Vedyam. Only those who can understand, those who are pure at heart. Now, Vastavam Vastu. This is Srimad-Bhagavatam distinguishes what is really of value. What is the Vastava Vastu? Vastava Vastu refers to Krishna. And this is explained in Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He explains that Vastu is anything that has Vas, that has existence. Anything that has existence is called a Vastu. And every Vastu has its own dharma. And this dharma depends on the ghatana, on the composition of that Vastu. And our dharma, Jivara Swarupa Krishnera Nityadas, Krishnera Tadasakati Bhedabhed Prakash. This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Jivara Swarupa Krishnera Nityadas, very famous verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is our dharma. That our eternal dharma is Sanatan, our dharma is that we are servants of Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, what is that verse? That the jivas are my amshas. Thank you. Mamai amsha jiva loka jiva bhuta sanatan. That all the jivas, they are sanatan, they are eternally my amsha. Mamai amsha jiva loka jiva bhuta sanatan. So this is our dharma. Similarly, Krishna's ghatana, Krishna's dharma, Krishna's swabhav is that he is Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is filled with 6 opulences. He is Satchidananda Vigraha. He is the source of all. He is the origin of everyone. Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. That is Krishna's Swarup. That's just how things are. He is Krishna. So this Vastav Vastu is Krishna. And everything in relation to Krishna. This is Vastav Vastu. Krishna is Vastav Vastu. And Srimad-Bhagavatam distinguishes it very thoroughly. And we will specifically read this in the 5th canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam, where this whole material illusion is explained very elaborately. And especially in the discussion between Maharaj Rahugana and Jada Bharat. So therefore the Vastav Vastu is explained to us, reality distinguished from illusion. For what? Shivadam. Shivadam means for our welfare. Remember we said that highest reality is that reality which causes our welfare. Highest speech is that speech which causes welfare of others. What is that verse in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says that this is the austerity of speech, this is the perfection of speech?
Anudvegakaram.
Yes. Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priya. What is the next word? Hitam.
Chayat.
Yes. Hitam, for the welfare of others. If there is no welfare, what is the use? So here it is clearly said that it is Shivadam. It is for the welfare of others. Tapatrayan Mulanam. We discussed this. All the three types of material miseries, Tapatraya. We are all subject to Tapatraya. Three types of miseries. They are completely destroyed by taking shelter of Srimad-Bhagavatam. Okay, such a great, glorious work. Who is the author? If there is any literature, transcendental literature given, first question should be who is the author? Because we have to listen to Acharya Vani. We cannot just hear to anybody's speculation. Acharya Vani. So who is the author? Mahamuni Krite. See the words. Mahamuni Krite. Mahamuni Krite. Srila Vyasdev, who is the compiler of all other Vedic literature, who has given us all the Upanishads, all the 4 Vedas, all the other Puranas. He has given us. He is the author of Mahabharata also. He has given this. After writing Mahabharata, after writing the Upanishads, the Vedas, he has given us. Mahamuni Krite. Kim va aparayar. What is the need of any other scripture? This is his magnum opus. Srimad-Bhagavatam is Mahamuni, Srila Vyasdev's magnum opus. Now, what is the meaning of Mahamuni? Srimad Radha Govinda Goswami Maharaj, our greatest authority on Srimad-Bhagavatam, he explains what is the meaning of Mahamuni. Would you all like to know? So there is Muni and there is Mahamuni. Muni comes from the word Mauna, not to speak. So Muni is one who does not speak any Gramya Katha, any village talk, any nonsense, mundane talk. One who does not speak any worldly, mundane gossip is called a Muni. They will not talk anything of this world. Muni. They will remain Maun. But who is Mahamuni? Mahamuni is one who will only speak about Krishna. That is Mahamuni. That is the perfection of speech. Satyam Hitam Chaya. Because it is the supreme truth and it is for the welfare of others. So Muni is one who does not speak mundane things, and Mahamuni is one who only speaks about Krishna. So Srila Vyasdev is here called Mahamuni because finally he gave us Srimad-Bhagavatam. This is a perfect scripture. So he's called Mahamuni. Mahamuni Krite Kimva Aparayar. What else is required? And then Ishvara Sadhya Rida Avarudhyate. That what happens by reading Srimad-Bhagavatam? Ishvara Sadhya Rida Avarudhyate. Very quickly, the Supreme Lord, Ishwar, Krishna, Ishwara Parama Krishna, Krishna becomes established very quickly, Ridhi, in our heart by reading Srimad-Bhagavatam. And how Krishna will quickly get established in our heart? What is the process? Kirti bhi sushrushu bhi tatshana. Okay, if you want quickly Krishna in your heart, then you quickly read Srimad-Bhagavatam. Srimad-Bhagavatam will establish Krishna in your heart. That is the answer. Now let's go to the Prayojan Tattva. Let's go to the next verse. Nigama kalpatar or galitam phalam. So I hope the second verse was clear. How Srimad-Bhagavatam is glorified. Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam shukamukhadamrita dravasam yutam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. Very beautiful verse. This is the Prayojan Tattva. It is inviting us to just relish Srimad-Bhagavatam. Don't think, don't analyze, don't debate, don't ask questions, just drink it. This is the state of Prayojan, perfection stage, where the Rasikas are just sitting and relishing. Can anyone unmute and please tell from Chaitanya Charitamrita example of this verse? Who did this in Tota Gopinath? Please.
Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar Pandit.
Ahaha. Yes. In the association of Rai Ramananda and Sarup Damodar Goswami. That is the actual manifestation of this verse. Oh, expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad-Bhagavatam, which is the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukdev Goswami, and therefore this fruit has become even more tasteful. Although its nectarian juice, rasa, its nectarian juice was already very relishable for all, including the liberated souls. But now it has become even more relishable. because it has been Shukamukhat Amritadravam, because it has been touched by the lotus lips of Shukdev Goswami. It came from the mouth of Shukdev Goswami. Therefore, it has become even more tasty. I always like to give this example. I remember in India, growing up in India, during the Patang season, during the winter season, when we used to fly kites, our kites would get caught in different trees and we would go climb on trees and free the kites. So there were many Peru trees. Peru, in Marathi we call it Peru. Peru, I think in English is called guava, if I'm not wrong. So this guava, we used to see the fruits, the Peru fruits, which had been pecked upon by the parrots. They are even sweeter in taste. They become sweet quickly. So the Srimati Radharani's parrot is Shukdev Goswami. Is Radharani's parrot. There is a Shuka Sari Samvad in Govinda Lilamrit of Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. So the Shukdev Goswami is Radharani's parrot. And because he has tasted, Srimad-Bhagavatam is coming from his mouth. He got it from Vyasdev. But when Shukdev Goswami relished, it was like the fruit that had been pecked by the parrot, Shukdev Goswami. It has become so relishable. The father is saying that my son has made it more relishable. Because Vyasdev has written this verse. He's saying, my son has made it so relishable. This is the spiritual world. It is Nirmat Saranam. It is, the spiritual world belongs to the non-envious. Even in the 7th canto we see, when Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking questions to Narad Muni, please tell us how the Supreme Lord is equal to all. Whose story does Narad Muni tell? Somebody can unmute and tell. 7th canto. Narad Muni is telling whose story to Yudhishthira Maharaj in the Sabha?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlad Maharaj.
Yes, and what is the relation between Prahlad Maharaj and Shripad Narad Muni?
Disciple.
Guru and disciple.
Disciple and
Disciple. He's giving his own example of his disciple. No enmity, no enviousness. Narad Muni is not saying, well, this is a good opportunity for me to glorify myself. Let me tell them my own story from 1st canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam. No, he's telling the story of Prahlad Maharaj. So this is non-enviousness. This is very beautiful. So this is the Prayojan Tattva. Now I want 3 of you to raise your hands who can recite these verses. I will share the screen and one by one I want you all to recite in the proper tune. Okay. So Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Then we have Saroja Nandini Mataji, number 2. And I want new devotees who have not spoken yet. Shraddha Mataji. Okay, now remember your name in sequence. So I'm sharing my screen. Let's go to the first verse. Sing it in the proper tune, okay? Everybody mute yourself except the one who is singing, reciting the verse. Everybody mute, please. Okay.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya Yatvanvayaditaras Chartheshva Abhigna Swarad Tene Brahma Hridaya Ādi Kavaye Muyanti Yat Surya Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatrati Sargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi.
Very good, Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Very good. Thank you. Okay, next devotee. 2nd verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam. Quick.
Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadham tapatrayonmulanam Srimad-Bhagavate Mahamuni krite kim va pararishvara sadyo hridya varudya tetra kritibhi Shushrushubistatkshana.
Excellent. Mataji, what was your name again?
Saroja Nandini Devidasi Prabhu.
Saroja Nandini Mataji, that was very nice. Very nice. Okay, this third verse is a different meter. I myself did not know how to sing it, but I learned it from His Grace Amarendra Prabhu. So who wants to try? Who is the next one? You said third devotee. Yes, go ahead, Mataji.
Prabhu, I might make a mistake because this is a little, but I'll try.
No problem, Mataji. What is your name? Shraddha Mataji. No?
Shraddha. Ji, Prabhu.
Mataji, please go ahead.
निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखाद् अमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः.
Very good, Shraddha Mataji. Nigamakалпатароргалитам phalam. Say it.
निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं
शुकमुखादमृताद्रवसंयुतं
शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं
पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं
पिबत भागवतं रसालयं
मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः.
मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः.
Yeah, very nice. So thank you. So we should memorize these 3 verses by Thursday, by day after tomorrow. We will not be able to complete the chapter, dear devotees, but don't worry, we will complete. The first 3 verses are a little big, they take time always. So let me see if there are any questions in the chat box. So let me see. Okay, so Amrit Gaurang said Bhagavad Gita verses. What about
No,
Bhagavad Gita?
Prabhu, somebody was asking that you should refer the verses names also. So you were asking which verses did I say? You were referring to Bhagavad Gita verses.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Then Sarvabhauma Prabhu, does Unmulanam indicate that Srimad-Bhagavatam transcends Prayaschitta? So this is explained in the 6th canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam, Sarvabhauma Prabhu. Prayaschitta means after we have committed some sinful activity, we repent and we take some corrective steps to counteract the sin that we have accumulated. To counteract the sin so that we don't suffer. We voluntarily take on some austerities, some inconvenience so that we don't get a greater punishment. That is Prayaschitta. Srimad-Bhagavatam, as it is explained by Sri Shukdev Goswami, it transcends Prayaschitta. It goes to the very root, because even if we do Prayaschitta, the problem is our tendency to commit those sins doesn't go away. So Prayaschitta, by doing Prayaschitta, that particular sinful reaction is counteracted. But in the future, I may do the same crime again. For example, if I get angry and I yell at someone and I get pap because of that, then I do Prayaschitta. I do Nirjal Upas, or I do some Prayaschitta, I feed Brahmans, I give charity. Okay, now that sin of getting angry and screaming at someone, hurting someone, that is gone. But the problem is my anger is not gone. So it's only a matter of time. After a few days, I may again become angry at someone. Isn't it? That refers to any spiritual fall down. It is happening because that sinful desire is there in the heart. But Srimad-Bhagavatam, it purifies that sinful desire. Vidhunoti surit satam. It purifies our heart. It cleanses our heart, Srimad-Bhagavatam. And therefore that tendency to commit sinful activities goes away. So yes, it transcends Prayaschitta. It gives Prayaschitta is like a stopgap solution. But Srimad-Bhagavatam gives us a permanent solution, where the tendency to sin is only gone. And therefore we can perfect our lives. Is this okay? Sarvabhauma Prabhu, please let me know. Okay, then Sharanagata Mataji has given references to some verses that were quoted. One was Matchitta Madgata Prana was Bhagavad Gita 10.10, Ajay Govind Prabhu. And Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.17 is which one? Sharanagata Mataji? Is it Savai Pumsa Paro Dharma?
Savai Pumsa.
Okay. So thank you for giving the references. So 1.2.17, Taruni Radha Mataji is saying Krishna is always in one's heart. What does it mean that Krishna becomes established in one's heart by hearing Srimad-Bhagavatam attentively? Very beautiful question. I hope everyone understood this question. Very beautiful question. So yes, Krishna is present in everyone's heart. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 15.15. I am in everyone's heart. Yes. But we don't know. We don't realize it. We don't realize that Krishna is in our heart. But by reading Srimad-Bhagavatam, when we get purified, then we can actually see Krishna in our heart. We can actually understand Krishna in our heart. And let me share. This comes in the answer. It comes in the next chapter. So let me share my screen and let's see if we can find that reference. So this is the first chapter. Now, in the second chapter, that comes. There's a sequence of very beautiful verses where this is mentioned that we are able to see Krishna in our heart. So established in the heart means we are able to see Krishna. This is the verse. Very beautiful verse. This is 1.2.21. This is the effect of taking shelter of Srimad-Bhagavatam. Bhidyate hridaya granthi chidyante sarva samshayaha kshiyante chasya karmani drishta evatmanishware. We can see Ishwar in our heart. Drishta. We can actually see Ishwar in our heart. What happens by Srimad-Bhagavatam? Thus the knot in the heart is pierced. All the misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated. And one sees the self as the master. One sees the self as the master. Which means we develop spiritual vision. And drishta evatmanishware. We are able to understand that we are able to see the Paramatma in the heart. So this is what happens. So Krishna is in everyone's heart, but we are not realized that. We don't behave. When we get angry at others, we are acting in a way as if the person is insignificant. If we actually could see that Krishna is in someone else's heart, how nicely we would treat them. Therefore, in our Vedic culture, we never step over somebody, isn't it? If someone is lying on the floor, we never step over anybody. We go around. Why? Because Krishna is there in their heart. When we do namaskar, what is the meaning of namaskar? That I am offering you obeisances because Krishna is there in your heart. So the effect of reading Srimad-Bhagavatam and realizing Srimad-Bhagavatam is that we actually become self-realized. We actually become self-realized. We are able to see our Ishtadev within our heart. Then wherever we go, we are always with our Ishtadev. We are never alone. We are never in illusion. So yes, Krishna is in everyone's heart, but we don't realize it. But by reading Srimad-Bhagavatam, a stage will come when we will realize that. Is that okay? Tarini Radha Mataji?
Thank you very much, Ramaji. Very beautiful explanation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Pandurancharan Prabhu is saying, oh, okay. Then what is a perfect extrapolation? Oh, sorry. Then Mukta Sangha Prabhu is saying, if Bhagavad Puran is the final Puran after all Vedic scriptures, then how is it that Bhagavad Puran is mentioned in Padma Puran and other Puranas? Again, very nice question, very logical question. Yes, Srimad-Bhagavatam is mentioned in Padma Puran. It is mentioned in Vayu Puran also, other Puranas also. It's glorified. How is that? The answer is that Srila Vyasadeva writing Srimad-Bhagavatam 5,000 years ago when Kali Yuga started is a Leela. But that doesn't mean Srimad-Bhagavatam did not exist. Srimad-Bhagavatam is eternal. Srimad-Bhagavatam is eternal. But this Leela took place where Narad Muni told Vyasadeva to write and Srila Vyasadeva wrote it down. So that Leela is the Leela of the manifestation of Srimad-Bhagavatam. But Srimad-Bhagavatam is eternal. Specifically the Chatushloki Bhagavatam mentioned in the second canto. The Mula Shlokas of Srimad-Bhagavatam, that is eternal. Krishna's pastimes are eternal. In Srimad-Bhagavatam, Krishna's Gochara and Leela is described. Krishna taking the cows for grazing. But that is a Nitya Leela. It is happening eternally in Golok Vrindavan. Isn't it? Krishna's Ras Leela is described. There is Rasa Panchadhyaya in the 10th canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam. But that is eternal Leela in Golok Vrindavan. So Srimad-Bhagavatam is eternal just like Krishna Leela is eternal. Just like Krishna Naam is eternal. But in this material world, there is a Leela where Srimad-Bhagavatam is given to the world. And that Leela is Vyasdev writing it. But because it is eternal, its glory is eternal, it is glorified in other Puranas also. For example can be given. In Srimad-Bhagavatam, we see that Krishna, he was given the Kaustubh Mani by the Nagapatnis after Kaliya Daman Leela. After Kaliya was chastised, the Nagapatnis, they gift Krishna the Kaustubh Mani. So that is the Leela of Krishna receiving Kaustubh Mani. After that, Krishna is wearing Kaustubh Mani. But Krishna eternally has Kaustubh Mani. Isn't it? Krishna eternally has Kaustubh Mani. So, but in this particular Leela, that story takes place so that we come to know how Krishna got the Kaustubh Mani. Similarly, Krishna is dancing with Radharani and the peacocks come and dance and the peacocks gift Krishna their feather and then Krishna puts it in the turban. But Venu Kwananta Maravinda Dalaya Taksham Barhavata Samasita Buddha Sundarangam. In Brahma Samhita that is described that in Golok Vrindavan, Krishna always has the peacock feather. So it is eternally there. But in this world, that Leela took place where Radha More Bihari manifested that Leela where Krishna got the more punk. So like that. So it is eternally there, but some Leela takes place to show it. So I hope this is okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Sugandha Arora Mataji is saying, was Srimad-Bhagavatam written at the time of Shukdev Goswami spoke to Parikshit Maharaj or when Narad Muni comes to instruct Vyasdev? Srila Vyasdev wrote it after Sripad Narad Muni instructed him and taught it to Shukdev Goswami. But it was spoken to Shukdev Goswami, but after Shukdev Goswami got it and he spoke it to Maharaj Parikshit, and then Suta Goswami heard, then went to Naimisharanya, and Suta Goswami spoke it to Shaunakadi Rishis. After that, Sripad Vyasdev, Srila Vyasdev, he actually physically wrote it down and gave it to as it is presented to all of us now. Therefore, it has the whole history of how Suta Goswami heard it and then went to Naimisharanya. So after everything happened, then Vyasdev wrote it down. But he got it from Srila Narad Muni, he taught it to Shukdev Goswami. But it's not that Shukdev Goswami was walking around with the Bhagavatam in his hand. No, he heard it from Srila Vyasdev. He spoke it. Suta Goswami heard it. He spoke it. And after seeing all this history unfold, then Srila Vyasdev said, okay, now I have to write it down. And he wrote it. And it is presented in this 18,000 verses. Is that okay, Sugandha Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Ram Sham Prabhu, I have by-hearted all 3 verses. Want to recite. Yes, so you can recite and upload it on the Google Drive that was shared in the email. Archana Mataji, are we supposed to upload the recording of these 3 shlokas by Thursday? You can take your time. You can do it by the weekend. Kirta Sundari Mataji. First verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam is Samprarthanatmika, direct prayer glorifying the Supreme Lord. Thank you, Kirta Sundari Mataji. So this question was asked by... Who had
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji, for the clarifying the question of my Nikunj Leela.
Nikunj Leela Mataji. Thank you for asking that question, and thank you, Kirta Sundari Mataji, for doing the research. So it is a Sam Prarthanatmika Prarthana. It is prayer, direct prayer glorifying the Supreme Lord. Thank you very much, Rashmi Mataji. 1.2.17 is Shurunvatam Swakatha Krishna. Savai Pumsam is 1.2.6. Okay, so that is the correction. Shamchandra Prabhu, sun in the verse 1.2.21 does refer to Supreme Absolute. Self refers to Supreme Absolute.
Not sun. There's a typo mistake. So in the verse 1.2.21 does self refer to Supreme Absolute? Because it's referring to self as a master.
Yes. So it has got 2 layers of meanings. And again, when we come to this in the 2nd chapter, we'll discuss in details. One is that to understand the Atma, that is us, the Jivatma, as the actual master of this material body. Right now, we are considering ourselves to the material body. I am this body. But when Srimad-Bhagavatam knowledge purifies us, then we can understand that no, actually, I am a soul, and the mind, intelligence, and this physical gross body, subtle body, gross body, both are to be used by me, are for my use in the service of Krishna. That is one understanding. And another understanding is also that Krishna, he appears in our heart and we are able to see Krishna. So both the meanings are there. But again, we'll see it in detail when we discuss the 2nd chapter, this verse. Is that okay, Shamchandra Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Sarvabhauma Prabhu, recordings, yes, we will put it in the WhatsApp group. Sugandha Mataji. 1.2.21. The translation of this verse was changed in 2019 Vedaves version. The new translation says, thus the knot in the heart is pierced, all messages are cut. The chain of production is terminated when one sees oneself and one's master. Acha? 1 second. Let's go back to that verse. You want to see oneself and the master. Okay. So yeah, it's correct. Both are correct. So we are able to see oneself also as the master of the body, and we are able to see Krishna, who is the master of the self. He is Paramatma. We are Atma, he is Paramatma. But thank you for that clarification. On this Veda base, it is still showing like that. And I will check in the Bhagavatam that I have. But thank you for that correction. This corrected version is even better because we are able to see both. Is that okay, Shamchandra Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
I clarified it that there is a correction there. Oneself and one's master. Like that. Do we have to record the translations too? Archana Mata asking. No, we don't have to record the translations, just the Sanskrit verse. So, Kirta Sundari Mataji has raised her hand. Mataji, you want to say something?
Oh, sorry, Prabhu, it was just, I didn't lower it down for reciting the verses. I'm sorry.
So now you can bless me with your raised hand. And then with that, on that note, we can conclude. So thank you very much, dear devotees. Sorry we went a little over time, but we'll stop here. Granthara Srimad-Bhagavatam ki Jai.
Hare
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe.